I know a lot of Canadians are so unhappy about the current immigration levels because, to be honest, I'm also included in that group and I'm also an immigrant myself. So I'm not anti-immigrant at all, but there has to be some sort of a balance between the amount of population growth versus the resources needed to sustain that amount of population growth. So I was asking myself, this is not a rocket science, right? Any sane person, even a fifth grader, should be able to tell you, hey, we don't have enough resources like housing, like, medical care, like jobs, infrastructure to be able to sustain that population growth. But why the Canadian federal government is still adamant to invite more immigrants in this country? I was questioning myself and I was trying to find the answer to understand the logic behind this policy. And I think I have something to share with you, and you can tell me whether I'm wrong or not. Put your comments down below, because the purpose of this video is to stimulate a discussion to understand the dynamics between this higher immigration policy and how we can address this going forward. If you go and talk to your MPs, you should know the facts behind and the reasons behind this policy before you can ask for a resolution. So let's dive into it. So let's start with the recent population growth. Okay, so National Bank has published a report, and by the way, National Bank published excellent reports with excellent data that will give you a lot of insights as well. So I'm looking into this chart that shows you the population growth in the last 2 years. And if you look at the 2024 levels, that's only for the first 4 months, right? And now we can see it has gone 47% up compared to last year for the same time period. So the last 2 years have actually contributed a lot in terms of the population growth. I know this is not healthy. Okay, I know this is not healthy. This is going to put a lot of stress on our current infrastructure, like housing, like hospitals, medical care, schooling, and of course the transportation as well. Before we blame the politicians about this, let's understand the logic behind it. So if you look at this chart, that tells you the total amount of public debt that our government has, and it is constantly increasing. Okay, you can see right now it is $1.3 trillion. Today is what, May 17th, and 6 months down the road it might have gone even further. Okay, that means per taxpayer we owe $41,000. Now this is just the public debt. This is not the total liabilities. Now what is liability? Liabilities is something that you have to pay in future. It's kind of a debt, but you have to pay in future. Okay, this is considered a liability for all of us. So we all owe this money to the public. There's something called unfunded liabilities. What is it? So it's a debt that we have to pay in the future, but we don't have money put aside today. Or in other words, we don't have a source of income that we will be able to use it to pay off that liability in the future. So for example, pension plans, healthcare, old age securities. These three things are called unfunded liabilities for Canadians. When we combine this with the total amount of public debt, that's over $4.1 trillion. And that means per Canadian, we have to pay $243,000 in terms of funded and unfunded liabilities. Okay, keep in mind this number because that is astronomical. If you are an investor in the US, in Canada, or in Europe, and you are considering investing into Dubai real estate market, this video is for you, because we have a platform called Stake, which allows you to invest into the residential real estate market and start earning rental income right away without going through a lengthy documentation process or coming up with a heavy down payment. Stake is built upon the concept of crowdfunding. So it is democratizing the entire investment strategy and allows you to own a single unit of the entire investment portfolio. So you don't have to own the entire property, right? You can be part of the pool that can actually own a piece of property, a piece of real estate. So that allows you to start with as low as 2,000 dirhams, and you can slowly ramp up. So as you start investing into it, you can not only own a bit of real estate, but you also get a portion of the rental income on monthly basis. So it's a passive investment strategy, diversifying your portfolio from traditional North American or European markets into Dubai, which is hustling and bustling and growing very fast, and it allows you to build your wealth over time. So don't delay. There is a link down there in the description. If you click on this, it will give you free 200 dirhams in your account right away to start with, and you can thank me later. So per Canadian, we owe to the public $243,000. Okay, let's start with that. So that means at some point we Canadian have to pay back this money. When it comes to unfunded liabilities, that means we have to pay boomers who are about to retire for their pensions, their old age security, and also their medical care. But let's take a look at this chart. This chart is showing you the ratio between the working age population per Canadian senior. Back in 80s, we used to have seven working age people compared to one senior. That number is cut in half right now. Okay, 3.4 working age people to one senior. As per this projection, in the next 20 years, this number will be down to 2.5 working age people per one senior, which means we don't have enough people to pay off the taxes, to pay off the unfunded liabilities, which means pension and healthcare. So the unfunded liability is like a Ponzi scheme. You don't have enough income source to continue funding that liability. So you need people, working age people, to be able to work here, pay taxes, pay pension, so that we can continue funding that Ponzi scheme. So why do we have so much decline in the working age population? And it's not just Canada, right? We compare ourselves with the G7 countries, we can see pretty much everybody's in the same boat. I mean, US is the least affected country right now amongst the G7 countries, but look at Japan, 28.4%, Germany 21%, Italy 23%. They are the worst offenders. But Canada, not far behind. So this chart shows you that the fertility rate in Canada is just plummeted. We had around 4 kids per woman back in 1960s, but then we fall back to like under 2, and since then we've been hovering under 2, but right now it's 1.3 kids per woman. And 2021 and 2022 has seen the largest decrease in the birth since baby boom. Average age of a mother at childbirth has increased from 26 to 31 years. So what does it tell you? The Canadians, us, including myself, we're not producing a lot of babies, okay? And the rate has been declining like crazy for the past few years. So now tell me, if we don't have enough working age people, who's gonna pay for the boomers' retirement plan? Who's gonna pay for their medical care? Who's gonna pay for the schooling? Who's gonna pay to fund this country? You need people to pay taxes. You need people to pay pension plan. You need people to pay medical care. You need people to fund this country. So Canada is at a crossroad. At one point, they don't have enough babies being born here, which is going to contribute towards the working age people. On the other side, we have no choice but to invite immigrants, which is also causing a lot of strain on our existing resources, whether this is hospitals, schooling, housing, social issues like security, right? So I think whoever is going to be in the power, whether this is Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre, they have to solve this problem, okay? If we don't have enough people to make a lot of babies, then we have no other choice but to invite more people in this country to be able to fund the unfunded liabilities. So before we start blaming each other about immigrants, let's understand the facts behind it. Let's understand the complexity of this issue. When you talk to your MPs, bring this point up. Ask them what is their plan to resolve this issue. Because if you don't, there will be no more pensions, there will be not enough people to pay for medical care, and there will be not enough people to pay taxes to be able to run this country. Anyway, you let me know what you think about that. Put your comments down below. Let me know about that. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Just wanted to let you know that we have a team of realtors which is covering the entire GTA as well as some outside areas as well, like Brent region where I am based off, and I help out the clients in this region as well. So if you have any needs with regards to real estate transactions, buying, selling, investing, renting, let me know. There is a link down there where you can book a one-to-one consulting call with me, and we will be more than happy to help you out.